Hey everyone, ready for some big changes. Meta's ending their whole diversity, equity, and inclusion programs.
Yeah, pretty massive.
And it's all kind of tied to these shifts they're making with like content moderation. Even Zuckerberg's been out there politically.
It is wild. It's not just like internal stuff. It's like their whole company philosophy is changing, how they treat employees to what we even see online.
So like what exactly are they changing with the DEI stuff?
Well, they're not just changing it. It's gone.
Go on.
Yeah, no DEI team anymore, no equity or inclusion programs. Even their hiring and suppliers are getting a whole new approach.
Whoa, that's a lot to unpack. What's Meta saying about this? Why is such a big overhaul?
Officially, their VP of HR, Janelle Gale, is saying the legal stuff in the U.S. is changing big time.
Okay, so laws.
Yeah, and she's pointing to some Supreme Court rulings and saying even the term DEI is too politically charged now.
Like focusing on diversity is unfair to others.
That's the vibe I get. And their chief diversity officer, Maxine Williams, she's moving to a totally new role. Accessibility and engagement, that's her focus now.
Okay, so are they even committed to this stuff anymore? They're not even making managers find candidates from diverse backgrounds.
Nope, not anymore. And they're not focusing on minority-owned businesses either. It's a big shift from what they were pushing before.
So this Gale person, she says it's all about fair practices, less bias, and the best teams. Doesn't sound like getting rid of DEI helps that.
You're telling me. And this is all happening alongside some other big meta moves.
Like, you mean getting rid of fact-checking and those changes to what they consider hate speech?
Exactly. Stuff they banned before is back. They're loosening up on a lot of stuff.
Interesting timing, right? Zuckerberg met with Trump, was on Joe Rogan, all the same day this was announced.
Can't help but wonder if it's connected, right? Adds a whole other layer to it.
And speaking of Rogan, Zuckerberg said he's been working on this for a while. Feels like the right direction for Meta.
Going back to their roots, huh? Giving people the power to share whatever they want. More open, more connected, like the old days.
Zuckerberg even admitted he's on a journey with free speech.
Yeah.
Started out super pro, then 2016 happened.
Right, like maybe he gave too much power to those blaming Trump's win on all the fake news.
And of course, the Biden administration was pushing him hard on the COVID misinformation.
Oh yeah, big time. Zuckerberg even said all the fact-checking was ruining trust in the platform. Remember that story about the Biden people wanting to take down a meme about vaccine lawsuits?
Oh yeah, showed how much tension there was. Still, Zuckerberg saying Meta's been through the ringer and this is the way forward.
It's crazy, right? DEI, content moderation, it's all tied up in politics, societal pressure, even Zuckerberg's own personal evolution. Hard to separate it all.
Yeah, huge turning point for Meta. Who knows where this will all lead?
It really is. And the big question is like, how does this all play out? Does ending DEI actually make things more inclusive? Or is it the opposite?
Yeah, good question. And what about all this content coming back? Are we going to see tons of misinformation and hate speech again? Will they even be able to keep people out who were already banned?
It's a real worry. And remember, this isn't just Meta, right? What they do affects the whole internet.
Totally. They have a huge influence on how we get information, how we connect, even how we participate in, democracy and stuff.
Exactly. They're basically shaping the online world. Their decisions matter for everyone.
So what should we be looking out for as this all unfolds? What are the key things to watch?
I think watching Meta's own culture is huge. Can they stay diverse without those programs?
Yeah, that's important. And with the content, I want to see how they handle all this stuff that was banned coming back. Can their algorithms even keep up without fact checkers?
That's the big test. And what about user trust? If people think it's all misinformation and hate, are they going to stick around?
It's a tough balance, right? Free speech, but also protecting people.
For sure. And even Zuckerberg's idea of what's harmful has changed over time. He was all about total free speech at first, but then real life, happened.
Yeah, he's had to deal with stuff he probably never imagined back when Meta was just starting.
Absolutely. And this whole thing shows how hard it is to balance individual freedom with, protecting society. That goes way beyond social media.
It's interesting how Zuckerberg's own story mirrors all that. Idealistic about free speech, then reality sets in, the dark side comes out.
Like the internet itself, right? We started with this utopia, everyone's sharing ideas, but it got big, it got real, and now we got to deal with the consequences.
Like Meta and Zuckerberg are going through the same growing pains as the internet itself.
Exactly. And it shows that we're all figuring this out as we go. There's no easy answer.
Maybe there's a middle ground, though. Free speech, but without all the bad stuff.
Maybe. But finding that balance is hard. It takes, thinking about different values, making careful rules, and talking to all sorts of people.
And we all need to be part of that conversation. We can't just sit back and watch this happen.
Totally. We got to go from just using these platforms to actually shaping them.
So how do we do that?
Yeah.
How do we make our voices heard and make a difference?
First, we got to stay informed. first. Know what's going on, what's at stake, what choices these companies are making.
All just power. Right.
Exactly. And then speak up. Share your thoughts online. Talk to your representatives. Have real conversations.
Use our collective voice to make them accountable. Push for change.
Right. And remember, we have choices as consumers too. We can support the platforms that share our values and boycott the ones that don't.
Put our money where our mouth is.
Yep. In the end, we're not just along for the ride with this digital stuff. We have the power to shape it, make it work for everyone.
You know, through all this meta stuff, it's interesting how they're calling this going back to their roots. Like back to when the internet was all about free speech, anything goes.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if that even works anymore. I mean, the internet, meta itself, everything's so different now than back then.
Exactly. It's not that simple anymore. We've seen what happens when you just let things fly online. Misinformation, harassment, hate speech, it all comes out.
Right. Thinking that stepping back and letting everyone share what they want fixes that. It's naive. Could even make it worse. You need rules, you need moderation. Otherwise, these platforms become, well, breeding grounds for bad stuff.
And it makes you think about the DEI thing too. Can they really say they're all about diverse teams when they're getting rid of the programs meant to do that?
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's like one side, they say they want the best people no matter who they are, but then they dismantle the things that actually level the playing field.
It's confusing. Makes you question what Meta really cares about, what their vision is for, a better society.
It does. Values versus actions, right? Are they really about diversity and inclusion, or is it just talk?
Hard to know for sure, but this is huge E for Meta. What they do now affects everyone, not just their company, but all of us who use their platform.
Totally. And it reminds us that we're not powerless here. We can't just be passive. We got to be part of shaping this digital world.
Hold them accountable. Demand they be open about what they're doing. Fight for policies that make sense.
Exactly. We have power in this digital age. We're not just consuming, we're part of creating it.
So wrapping up all this Meta stuff, I think the big thing is this conversation isn't over. It's bigger than just Meta. It's about how technology shapes our world, what choices we make.
Well put. And there's no easy answer. It's messy. Lots of different sides to it.
Which is exactly WHY, WHY. We need to keep talking, keep asking the hard questions, keep looking for solutions that work for everyone. Until next time, goodbye.
Until next time, goodbye.